Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into the heart of an ancient epic, the Mahabharata. We're going to follow 5 exiled princes, the incredible Pandavas, who have lost absolutely everything. And their story really makes you ask a tough question. Right. So, after being cheated out of their entire kingdom by their treacherous cousins, the Pandavas are basically fugitives, out in the wilderness. And it's here, in this trial by fire, that their character is going to be tested like never before, by monsters, by desperate people, and by allies they never saw coming. Their first test? Well, it arrives in a pretty terrifying and surprisingly romantic form.
So, the brothers are making their way through this dense forest, and boom, they run straight into their first major trial. It all starts with a fearsome Rakshasa, a man-eating demon named Hidimba, and, as it turns out, his even more surprising sister.
Now the powerhouse of the brothers, Bhima, he makes really short work of this Rakshasa. But just as the dust settles, a new figure steps out of the shadows, Hidimba's sister, Hidimbi. And instead of looking for revenge, she comes to them with a plea that is totally, completely unexpected.
Bhima, he's the warrior through and through. He sees another potential threat, and he's ready to finish the job right then and there. But his older brother Yudhishthira, who is like the living embodiment of dharma, or righteous duty, he steps in immediately. He tells Bhima, whoa, hold on. Virtue is a higher duty than just protecting ourselves, and we never ever kill a woman. So Hidimbi, who has totally fallen for the powerful Bhima, makes this incredibly smart, eloquent appeal directly to the Pandava's mother, Kunti. She frames her desire not just as a crush, but as a matter of life and death, and even a matter of virtue. Appealing to Kunti, woman to woman, that's a brilliant move.
And you know what? It actually works. Kunti and Yudhishthira are convinced by her sincerity. So even the reluctant Bhima agrees to the marriage, but on one very practical condition. He'll stay with her until his son is born. He knows his bigger destiny is waiting for him down the road.
So this completely unlikely union between a human prince and a Rakshasi leads to a pretty extraordinary kid. One who is going to become a super important and super fearsome ally for the Pandavas later on. And his birth is just as wild as his conception.
Their son, Gatotkacha, is this fascinating mix of his parents. Get this, he grows to adulthood in just a matter of days. He has the intimidating look and immense power of a Rakshasa, but he also has the good, virtuous heart of his father's family. He becomes a beloved part of the group and promises them his undying loyalty, saying he'll return whenever they need him.
Okay, so after leaving Hidimbi and their new son, the Pandavas keep moving. They disguise themselves as poor holy men and find a place to stay in a small village called Ekachakra. But this peaceful little town, well, it's hiding a horrifying secret.
They're taken in by this really kind Brahmin family, and they settle into a quiet life. But one day, that peace is completely shattered. Bhima and Kunti overhear the family just weeping. It's this sound of absolute gut-wrenching despair. And they soon find out why. The whole village is living under the thumb of a powerful, cannibalistic Rakshasa named Baka. He supposedly protects them from outsiders, but the price for this protection is this monstrous deal that's causing all the family's grief. The system they have is just terrifying. Every single week, the village has to send a huge cartload of food to Baka's lair. But it's not just the food. The tribute also includes the person delivering it. And today, it's this kind Brahmin's turn to send one of his own family members to their death.
What happens next is just heartbreaking. You have the husband, the wife, the son, the daughter, and every single one of them is arguing that they should be the one to go, to sacrifice themselves to save the others. Even their young daughter's offering up her life to spare her father.
So Kunti overhears all of this, and you can almost see the gears turning in her head. This is a perfect opportunity. Not only can they repay the Brahmins' kindness, but they can fulfill their duty, their dharma, as warriors, which is to protect the innocent. So she makes a bold offer. Her son, the mighty Bhima, will go face the demon instead.
Now this is where you just have to love Bhima's style. He doesn't approach this mission with fear, not at all. He is so supremely confident that as he's driving the cart to Baka's lair, he just starts casually eating the demon's food, loudly calling out Baka's name to taunt him. The battle that follows is just spectacular. Baka is furious that this human is eating his dinner, right? So he attacks with everything he has, even uprooting and throwing whole trees. But Bhima?
He just meets this monstrous rage with an almost smiling, superhuman strength, catching the trees with one hand and just tossing them right back. The fight ends as decisively as it started. Bhima grabs the now-tiring demon, puts a knee in his back, and with this one incredible show of force, breaks his spine. Just like that, Baka's reign of terror is over, and the village is finally free.
Okay, so what's the big deal here? These two encounters, with Hidimbi and then with Baka, they're so much more than just cool monster fights. They're really foundational tests of character for our exiled heroes.
These trials are what really shape who they become in exile. We see Yudhishthira's wisdom guiding their every move, proving that true compassion is a strength. We see that their dharma, their core mission, is about protecting the innocent, not just winning back a throne. And we see Bhima's incredible power being used to defend the helpless. They're learning a really critical lesson. Even when things are at their worst, acting with virtue can turn your enemies into your greatest allies.
The Pandavas' long, hard journey is really just getting started. But these early trials out in the forest, they set the whole stage for the epic war to come. They show us who these heroes are at their absolute core, and they leave us with a really powerful question to think about.